Hi everyone! Today we're going to be making this very simple, large hanging basket. And for this basket, I am working with the Lion brand yarns Re-Up recycled cotton and polyester blend yarn, and the colors are Full Moon and Sea Glass. And for the base of the basket, you will need 2 strands of yarn, so you can also work with scrap yarn if you would like to. I'm also working with 2 different size crochet hooks. If you don't have these exact sizes, it isn't a problem. Just get as close as you can. And you're also going to need a stitch marker, safety pin, or scrap piece of yarn. And you're going to need a handle of some sort. And in the description, I will link to this wooden handle that I bought. So go ahead and grab both ends of your strands of yarn and your big crochet hook. And we are going to tie a magic circle. So take your tail and drape it over your working yarn and pinch that intersection. Insert your crochet hook and then yarn over and pull through your loop. And you want to pull the bottom portion of your loop down to separate it. From here, we're going to place a chain 1, and then we want to place 12 double crochets inside of our magic circle. And it's important to note that when we're working these stitches, that we're working them in the loop as well as over our little tail here. And once you have your 12 double crochets in place, then I want you to pull on your tail to tighten the gap in your magic circle. And we're going to skip our little chain 1 and place 2 double crochets right here in the top of our first double crochet. And you do have the option of crocheting over your tail in this row by just lining it up with your stitches and treating it like it is part of your stitch. Once you have your first 2 double crochets in place, then we're going to mark the first of those 2 stitches. And you can use a stitch marker, scrap piece of yarn, or safety pin. You just need something to indicate the first stitch in each of our rows here. Once you have that first stitch marked, then we're just going to place 2 double crochets in each stitch going around our row until we make it back to our stitch marker for a total of 24 double crochets. And when you get to the end of your row, you can remove your stitch marker. And the pattern for our next row is to place 1 double crochet in this first stitch, and we want to go ahead and mark that stitch when we're done placing it. Then we want to place 2 double crochets in the following stitch. So we just want to repeat our alternating pattern, placing 1 and then 2 double crochets going around our row until we make it back to our stitch marker, and we should have a total of 36 double crochets. And again, you can remove your stitch marker at the end of your row. And the pattern for our next row is to place 1 double crochet in our first 2 stitches. And then we want to make sure that we mark that first stitch. Then we're going to place 2 double crochets in our third stitch. So that's going to be our pattern going around our row for a total of 48 double crochets. And the pattern for our next row is to place 1 double crochet in our first 3 stitches. And we want to make sure we go back and mark the first stitch. Then we're going to place 2 double crochets in our 4th stitch. And we're going to repeat that pattern going all the way around our row until we make it back to our stitch marker for a total of 60 double crochets. And when you get to the end of your row, you can remove your stitch marker and you won't need it for a little while. And from here, we're just going to place 1 double crochet in each stitch in each of our rows for our next 7 rows. And once you have your 7 rows of double crochets in place, then your basket should look something like this. From here, we're going to attach the handle. So working right off your last double crochet, insert your crochet hook in your next stitch and then grab your handle. We're going to yarn over around our handle like this and slide our crochet hook through our stitch and then yarn over and drop our 2 loops. And we're going to repeat that process in our next 9 stitches so that we have a total of 10 stitches joining our handle. And once you've worked your 10 single crochets over your handle, then we're just going to pick back up with placing 1 double crochet in each stitch in our row until we make it back to the start of our handle. And when you make it back around to these stitches over your handle, just continue placing your double crochets, working right in the top of these stitches. So you should no longer be working around your handle, but instead in the stitches on top of your handle. So from here, we're just going to place 1 double crochet in each stitch in each of our rows for the next 4 rows. And once you have your 4 rows over your handle, then we're going to start to decrease, so you're going to need your stitch marker. For this first row, we're going to place 1 double crochet in our first 3 stitches. And don't forget to mark your first stitch. Then we're going to double crochet together our 4th and our 5th stitch. So to double crochet 2 together, we're going to yarn over and insert our crochet hook up underneath our stitch and yarn over and pull up through. Then yarn over and drop 2 loops. So you should have 2 loops on your crochet hook, and we're going to yarn over and insert our crochet hook up underneath the next stitch, yarn over and pull through the stitch, then yarn over and drop 2 loops, and then yarn over and drop 3 loops. So now we're just going to repeat that pattern going around our row, and when we get done, we should have a total of 48 double crochets. And for our next row, we're going to place 1 double crochet in our first 2 stitches, and don't forget to go back and mark your first stitch. Then we're going to double crochet 2 together in our 3rd and our 4th stitch. And we're going to repeat this going around our row for a total of 36 double crochets. For our next row, we're just going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch in our row, going all the way around for a total of 36 single crochets. And at the end of this row, we're just going to place 1 slip stitch up underneath our next stitch and then cut and tie off our yarn. And using your smaller crochet hook, you can go ahead and hide this tail on the inside of your hanging basket. And so now you're going to attach your border color to your smaller crochet hook using a slip knot. So inserting your crochet hook anywhere, what we're going to do is just place a simple single crochet right here. Then we want to chain 3 and place another single crochet in our next stitch. So that's going to be our pattern, chaining 3 and then placing a single crochet in the next stitch to create this fun little border around our hanging baskets. And when you make it near the end of your row, all you have to do is place your chain 3. And what we're going to do is just dive right into the 2 front loops that form our first single crochet. So these 2 vertical loops. This isn't absolutely necessary. You can always insert your crochet hook in the top, but this just makes it look more seamless. From here, we're going to yarn over and drop all the loops on our crochet hook for a slip stitch, and then we're going to cut and tie off our yarn. And you want to hide your tails on the inside of your hanging basket. I like to hide them along this blue edge in these stitches so that you can't see it against the white of the hanging basket. And once you're done hiding your tails, then your fringe edge should look something like this. Let me know in the comments below if you decided to make this or if you ran into any issues while you were crocheting this. I'm happy to try to problem solve those with you. Thank you so much for working with me, and I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day.